Good morning. I'm Karen Terradas with Social U, and it's time for What's Up Wednesday, where we come to you live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to talk about social media tips, tricks, and trends, some digital marketing too. And all this month, we're talking about spooky Halloween stuff. Let's see, last week we talked about, let me look real quick. We talked about scary good ideas for your Halloween content. Today, we're going to talk about ghoulish behavior, dealing with creeps, trolls, negative comments. Next week, we're going to talk about social media sins, mistakes that will haunt you, things that you should not be doing as a business owner. And then the last week of the month, we are going to talk about social media horror stories, people whose lives were actually canceled or ruined because of a mistake they made online. So I'm going to give you guys very specific examples for that one the last day of the month. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a lot to cover today, actually. I tried to give you guys as much info as possible. So first and foremost, I'm going to break this down into pieces. I want to talk to you about how to respond to negative comments or complaints. We're going to talk about rude or false comments and trolls. And then I want to give you a couple of examples of how a complaint was turned into a positive thing and when negative reviews are good. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, negative comments or complaints. So let's say somebody's gone on your page and they have left a complaint. First and foremost, you have to be paying attention so you can respond quickly. If you are not paying attention and you don't respond quickly, and you're just leaving it up there for people to see with no response, that's not good, because in essence, that's an answer. I'm not paying attention. This is not important to me. And you're just letting that sit out there. So we're making sure that you're available and accessible and that you check that stuff is your first line of defense. Okay, then you need to determine, is this really my fault? Is this something that our company really did? Is this something that we made a mistake on? If it's valid, if it's something that you messed up, one of your employees messed up, if it's a mistake that your company made, apologize publicly. That means whatever comment is made, wherever the review is, you apologize there. Your next step is to move the rest of the conversation into a private, move it private. So you're going to apologize publicly. I'm so sorry that you had this experience. I'm going to email you so we can discuss, next steps. Very simple. You don't have to tell what the next steps are publicly, but you do need to then move it into a private conversation. As private as possible. Now, sometimes the person won't allow that. They want it to all be public. So you just kind of have to navigate that as gently as possible, but you want to move it private if you can. Once you've moved it to private, thank them for their input. I know that seems a little counterintuitive, but you need to know if something's broken in your business or somebody's made a mistake or if there's a problem. They're doing you a great service by letting you know that something's wrong so that you don't repeat it. It doesn't happen again. So thank them for their input. Ask what you can do to fix it. Ask them how you can help. I would say my background is in retail. I worked retail for 15 years, and I would say 9 times out of 10, what they are going to ask you for is less than what you plan to give them. So just ask them what they need. Do they just need to complain to you and be heard? Do they want a discount on this one thing? Do they want a future discount? Before you give away the store, find out what it is that will make them happy. And very important, do not delete those negative comments or reviews. All you're going to do is make the person who posted it mad. And then instead of talking to the business about it, they're going to talk about it on their profile where you have zero control over the situation, and they're going to blast it to everybody they know. So absolutely don't delete them. Now, that's if you have a negative comment or a complaint that's valid. Let's talk about rude comments, false comments, and trolls. Okay, false information. If they just straight up, I don't like the tires I bought at your store. We don't sell tires. If the information is completely and totally false, first and foremost, respond with caution. You do not want to argue with crazy, especially when it's not your fault. So if you engage crazy, you're going to get crazy back. So when you're dealing with a false comment, the first thing you need to think about is, do you want to respond at all? A lot of times you will start an argument or you will start an online war that you can't come back from. So if you are going to respond, try not to respond to crazy because that'll just get you in trouble. And especially if it's not your fault, be cautious. You don't have to respond to every single comment. It's okay sometimes to just leave them out there. Don't feed the trolls. If somebody is purposely trying to bait you, and I mean, if they're making fun of you personally versus your information or your company, that's a troll. So do not engage. You can hide the post. Those posts you can delete if you want to, but don't engage with a troll. Don't argue with crazy. Don't feed the trolls. Because what's going to happen, and I've seen this happen with there was a couple of years ago, a business owner, lovely business owner, had some comments posted about her in one of the What's Happening groups that were not true. And she went to defend herself, and it made it so much worse. Not because the comments weren't true, but because the people arguing were trolls and they were baiting her into fighting so that they could continue the fight. And the more people who comment and the more people who engage, the higher it goes in the group so everybody can see it. So sometimes not saying anything is your best line of defense. If it's a rude comment, especially if it's profane, and you do get that sometimes, delete with discretion. You definitely need a company policy in place for how you're going to deal with specific situations like profanity. I don't tolerate that. So those comments are gone, especially if you're cussing one of my employees. We're out. You're out. We're done. But we have a profanity filter turned on Facebook, on all of our platforms. So if we're getting profanity, that comment's gone. But you do need a company policy in place so you know when it's okay to delete those kind of rude comments. And I think rude is borderline troll. It just depends on, are they attacking you personally or are they baiting you? And there's a fine line. I mean, come on, it can go either way. But to me, both of those are trolls. And if the person persists, if they make more than one negative comment or false comment or try to bait you, block them, ban them, get rid of them. You can totally block people from your page on every single platform, and that's okay. It happens. You are going to get people who they don't have anything else to do. They want to give you a hard time. Block them. If they're really dedicated, they'll create a different account and come back. That's why it's so important. Let me, refer back to step one. You have to pay attention. That way, if there's anything negative or false about you or your business, you can deal with it immediately. Now, let's talk about complaints that turn into positive situations or how to deal with these. Some very specific live examples. Okay. We had a retail customer, food customer a few years ago who had a drive-through, and very late on a Sunday night, they got a complaint about, I am so angry. I went through your drive-through. Can you grab a tissue for me? I went through your drive-through and I popped a tire. I can't believe that you guys don't keep the drive-through clean, and I don't know what I ran over, but obviously you're not monitoring the drive-through. You're not taking care of that. Thank you very much. So I popped a tire. So immediately we contacted the owner and crafted a response. After getting some information from the owner, we apologize for the inconvenience. We do have the drive-through cleaned, blown out once a week to make sure that there's no debris so that it won't harm your car. We are happy to get you, it was a very generous offer. We're going to get you this item for free. And the person said, thank you so much. Well, then some of their friends saw this comment on the bottom, right underneath, and made their own comments. You didn't run over anything in the drive-through. You hit the curb and popped your own tire. We were right behind you in line and we saw the whole thing. You did this yourself. You just wanted free stuff. So they were joking, the guy, because they were friends, but they did bring call to attention. It wasn't the owner or the business owner's fault. They still did what they wanted to do. They still gave them the free item. The customer who made the complaint apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was my fault. And everyone else, because their friend engaged them and said, we saw what happened. There were over 30 comments on that one post. Everyone saw in what a positive manner that retail owner dealt with that problem. And it really, they're like, they were comment after comment about what a great way to deal with a complaint. You guys handled that so well. We're definitely coming back. So it it worked in the owner's favor because they handled it quickly and seriously. It worked in the owner's favor. Okay. I've also had a business owner have a negative review left that had false information. And she responded by going in, it was a Facebook comment, by going in and saying, addressing each of the issues. I'm the owner. I was there the day that that you're mentioning. I know for a fact that this person did this and that this is how we handled the situation. My apologies if that doesn't work for you. Now I'm going to contact you privately to see what we can do to make this right. So she defended her position because not all of that information was true. She did it in a public way. It was very gracious. She apologized so that everyone else who saw that complaint saw that she dealt with it immediately. That's normal. We got our first troll comment ever on YouTube a couple of months ago where the person on the comment didn't have a comment about the video. They made negative comments about my personal appearance. Okay, that's cool. So I'm not going to feed the trolls. So instead, I said, thank you for the engagement because that's our policy. And then I put a little troll emoji. So thanks for the engagement. It helps us long term. But you're not going to hurt my feelings. You're not telling me anything I'm sure I haven't said to myself. So it's all good. That's just how we personally handle it. If you want the troll emoji to respond to trolls, you can find that on Emojipedia. Yeah. And I think it's also in the tagline for our description on StreamYard. We use the troll emoji. So feel free to grab that thing if you want it. Now, let me tell you why negative reviews can be really good for your company. 85% of consumers will look for negative reviews in order to make an informed purchase decision. And that number skyrockets to 91% among consumers between like 18 and 30. The younger the consumer, the more likely they are to seek out negative comments. And it's not a bad thing. Bad reviews give customers a sense of worst case scenario, and it lets them know what can actually go wrong so they understand how you correct it and how much that matters to you and how it relates to them. But too many positive reviews come across as fake. So really and truly, if you have a negative review, it can actually validate your business. That's another great reason not to delete those. It's perfectly okay to keep those on there. There's the troll emoji. Thank you, Laura. So if you're looking for the troll emoji, look no further than the comments on this video. There it is. Okay, guys, that's it for me today. Just remember, if you've been in business for more than a few minutes, you're going to get some negative comments. That's okay. You just got to work through it and keep going. Don't engage with crazy. Don't feed the trolls. Pay attention to your comments so that you can respond to it as quickly as possible, but don't be afraid of a negative comment. It's totally okay. Next week, we will be back talking about social media sins, things you should definitely not be doing online that will get you unfollowed and sometimes blocked. And then the last week of the month, we're going to talk about actual people who had actually were fired from their jobs, bullied, all kinds of just horrible things happened to them because of a mistake they made online. Now, I don't mean an innocent, oops, I'm Shirley Temple mistake. I mean, they posted something that was awful and people called them out for it and literally got canceled for it. So that's what we're going to talk about the last week of the month. Social media nightmares. I love those. So until next week, until next Wednesday, I'm Karen Taradis and I'm here to help. Thanks.